Couple of goats making big moves and finding hidden gems in these high stakes FFPC Dynasty rookie drafts. Guys, let's get to it.
Goat district, you know the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text? That trash offer's the best? You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice, from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man, y'all know what to do. It's the... And I always be traded. And I always be traded. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them. Fish.
What is up, Dynasty Land? Welcome back to the Owner's Lounge. I'm at JD Go District, and I got my partner here in crime at Overhyped Sleeper. Dan, how you doing? We got a big one today.
Yeah, absolutely. Rookie drafts are finally finished, and it's so fun while it's going on. But also, if you have too many leagues, a little bit nice to get it in the rearview mirror too, because it's sometimes a little bit of a hectic scramble, but it's a fun scramble for sure.
It is. We're fresh off of a huge show last night on the Player Profiler Network with Austin Martin, a huge high stakes player, one of the elite on the FFPC and other formats or other platforms. But he even talked about 44 rookie drafts. I can't even imagine managing that. Today, Dan, we've got 3 FFPC high stakes dynasty teams that we co-own. We've got another one on the MFL platform. Today, we're looking at the ugly child, the ugly duckling. Well, last year, 5-9 finish, not our best, wasn't our best team. This is a super flex, tight end premium league. You've got guys like Pat Crane in here. You've got Curtis and Sean from the Rotoviz. So, like some serious players. You've got the Dynasty Trades HQ guys in here, our buddy Andrew's in here. So a lot of big time players that are smashing high stakes all over the place. So it's definitely a tough league, Dan.
Yes, yeah, no doubt about it.
We came into this draft. The reason we're going to start with this one as opposed to our 500s is this was by far our most active draft. We made moves. We had more picks. We didn't have a lot of picks in the other one because we just rock those leagues, Dan. That's just what we do. So we're going to look today, the moves we made, what the roster was before we went into the draft, what we were, trying to do, and what we ended up with. I mean, we talk about hidden gems. You look at the thumbnail, there's a guy that you and I smash anytime we could in these rookie drafts. So we'll talk about that later. So guys, stick around for that. But let's get this started, Dan. Maybe, walk us into this draft. Where were we with picks? What was our kind of main objective coming into this draft?
Yeah, so our finish last year, basically the story of that was this is a team that has Lamar Jackson. He got hurt, which definitely killed our chances last year. And we've been a running back poor team almost from the get-go. It's like whatever we do at running back just does not seem to work out. And every now and then you just have teams like that where you make moves and, hey, this might work out, and it just never does. So we've been running back poor almost since the jump on this team, 3-4 years ago. And we had some decent wide receivers, one very good one, and then, some decent ones to go with them, decent set of tight ends. But we were just short on star power and short on running back. So we went into the draft saying, hey, we got to fix this. Through our maneuvering last year, we didn't get any additional first-round picks, but we were able to get two other second-round picks, plus a couple of the third round picks. So we were well stocked in those second and third rounds. This is a super flex, so second and third rounds definitely help you out a little bit more than they do in the standard draft. So our idea was basically we want to go in, we want to find a way to increase our firepower and definitely come out with some running backs that we feel better about.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what those second and those third round picks do, especially in, like you said, tight end premium super flex. They hold more weight. They're better trade chips, right? So, and that's what we did. We leveraged these picks. We made moves, and we came out with some pretty nice rookie running backs. Running back was definitely our main objective, like you said. Why don't we pull up the draft board? Let's get the visual going. So guys that are listening in podcast format, we are on the YouTube channel, so you can watch the visuals, or you can download us on Spotify and watch us on there as well. And Dan's got the draft board up right now. So yep. maybe start with the picks. Like, which picks are we looking at? Start in the first round here.
Okay, so we had the 106 here. That was our only first round pick. And then we had, I believe, the 206, the 204, the 206, and the 208 for second round picks. And as you can see on this board, we traded away the 106, and we traded away all of our second round picks, and we got the 110, 111, 112, and we also got a very good player out of it. Our first trade was we traded the 106 straight up for Tyree Kill.
I gotta drop the air horn for that one, Dan. I mean, I'm hearing, whispers, some people talking, oh, why is Hill so high? He's got the same quarterback. We dealt with issues last year. Tyree Kill is a game winner, league winner, week winner. Doesn't matter. If he's on your team any week in your lineup, you have a chance to win just with him, Dan, in some weeks, some instances.
Yeah, the entire offense runs through him, and even when when Tua was out, Tyreek was still doing pretty good. So he didn't have quite as many giant smashes, but he was still a strong quarterback.
And that's probably just maybe the touchdowns, from what I remember. Right. Anyways, I think was the only thing that was lacking. The volume was there, and yes. maybe didn't increase enough to make up the gap, but it still made up some of that gap. So like you said, the floor is pretty solid with a guy like Hill. And I'm sorry, but the 106 in this draft for us to get last night we were talking and he's going 105, 106 in these redrafts right now.
Right, exactly. I mean, it hurts to give up on Jackson Smith-Njigba, which we knew we were doing, but that's the price you pay if you want to turn it into an instant competitor. We could have said, you know what, let's let this rebuild take another year. We'll get JSN. We'll try to get some running backs in the second round, and we'll just kind of work with what we've got. But I don't think we would have been real competitive this coming year unless JSN just absolutely takes off like a rocket this year. I expect that to happen more next year. So Tyreek was definitely a play for this year. And once we made that play, we knew we were kind of all in on this year. And so that kind of informed the moves we made the rest of the way.
Yeah, that's one thing I really worked on this offseason, Dan, is any teams that didn't compete for me last year is I just went in there. And that's why when people talk about rebuilds that take 2-3 years, I don't get it, especially FFPC. You're paying all this money every year to enter these leagues. And at the end of the day, like, yeah, this is fun, but we want to make some cash, Dan. You know what I mean? You want to live for the next season. You want your bankroll to either stay the same or increase, preferably increase, but you still want that bankroll. Similar to that poker mentality, you want to build that bankroll year to year. So if you're just rebuilding and paying 500, 250 here and there, I mean, it gets to a point where you got to make moves. And I think that if you make the right moves, you can turn a team around in one off season very easily. And I mean, that's what we're hoping to do with this one. So let's keep going. We rocked the Tyree Kill. I mean, that's a huge bump right there on this roster, where we do have that flex spot. Obviously the super flex takes away one of them, but you still put Tyree Kill in the lineup, and now you've got a guy like Treylon Burks who we have right now in our flex, which is nice. So let's keep going. We traded the 106. How did we end up in the back end of that first there?
Okay, so then to get into the back end of the first, we traded for the 110 and 111, and to get that, we moved our 24 first, 206, and 706.
There you go, Dan. I got it on the screen here.
Okay. Yep. So there it is. The trade, the second trade from the top.
One. Yep.
Because he's going in reverse chronological order. So the 206, the 706, and our 24 first, we got the 110, the 111, and a 412. Which is a really nice return. It put us in a position basically to be able to catch some running backs that were going to be gone by the time we got to our pick in the second round. That's one thing we quickly realized is the good running backs were going to be gone before our picks came up. So we were going to have to move if we wanted to get any good ones this year.
And if you look, Dan, I mean, we had the 3 targets in mind. We were like 2 fighter jets on a mission. You know what I mean? We knew where we were heading. We knew what we wanted to hit, and we hit all 3 perfectly. I mean, you love A-Chain. We both, I think, like Charbonnet, especially his price, and I love me some Kendre. I mean, we all like all 3, but the 2 of us combined just makes having this trio out of this draft. I mean, you talk about boosting your running back. Even if one of these guys smashed in, that's mission accomplished.
Right, exactly. And basically, when we made this trade, the 109 had already picked. So we knew all 3 running backs we liked, Miller, A-Chain, and Charbonnet, were all on the board. So we decided, you know what, let's get greedy.
Yep.
Let's not just be happy with 2 out of the 3. Let's get greedy. Let's get all 3. So before we made our pick, we first made the trade that got us the 210 or the 110 and the 111, and then before we made those picks, we worked with the owner of the 112. That was Curtis and Sean from Rotoviz, and we worked with them to see if we could pick up that 112 before we made our picks. And we were able to work a deal with them. We traded our 204 and our 208, and we moved up to 112, and then also got the 402 as well.
Oh yeah!
Yeah, absolutely. This deal, we probably lost a little bit of the value we picked up from the last deal. Looking at it just from a trade calculator or whatever, but it put us in a position to do exactly what we wanted to do, and that's worth giving up a little bit in a trade if you need to from time to time to be able to make the moves that help your team the most. Don't be afraid to lose a trade on the calculator if it does what you need it to do.
You got to be aggressive, especially in these draft rooms, in these FFPC leagues. You got to be aggressive. If you really want to build a contender, you got to be aggressive, whether that's in the startup draft, whether that's, during the season with trades, or if you can make moves in the rookie draft. And yeah, you know what, Dan, maybe we don't win the trade calculators in this specific situation, but end of the day, if we win some money next year, it was all worth it. We're not looking to win trades. We're looking to win leagues. And I think that's what a lot of these moves have done. So we picked up Miller, A-Chain, and Charbonnet, and then we go on to the second round.
Yeah, so in the second round now we've traded away all of our picks, which is fine because we've come out of the first round with Tyree Kill, Kendre Miller, A-Chain, and Charbonnet, which is a really great haul considering we're coming in with 3 second-round picks and 1 first-round pick. We did use our first-round pick from next year to do it, but I don't mind doing that because, there's plenty of time to go pick up that pick again if we need to. Just because you trade away that 24 first doesn't mean that you're completely shut out of the first round. You can go get that pick if things don't break your way during the season. We have
that's a pretty big point there, Dan. I think people don't see it that way. They think once they trade that 24 first, it's gone. Yeah, maybe it's hard to get, but you always got to think the dynamic of the league changes. So if there's a contender halfway in the season who's in the top 3 and he's lacking, whatever it is, a running back or maybe one of these guys pop, but our team doesn't do well, we can easily get back that 24 first from that owner. And then, let him kind of win it this year and then get ourselves back in that first round going into next year. So there's many ways, there's a lot of time before next year's draft. You got it almost a year now. So don't worry too much. If you're looking to make aggressive moves, I know everybody's saying collect those 24 first, and we're not saying just give them away. But if it's going to change the direction of your team in one of these leagues, it's definitely worth it because you can always get it back.
Yeah, just make sure you're not spending 24 firsts for like older players and things like that, yes, where you'll have a lot harder time recovering the value.
100%, and be very self-aware of your roster as well.
Right, exactly. So then we came into the third round and we had the 307.
Yeah, Samaje Perine, not a guy you hear a lot right now. There's not too much chatter about Perine, but we like him going to Denver. Javonte Williams, I know Sean Payton was on press conference saying that they expect him back week 1. But even if they do, he's coming off of injury. They're not just throw him in there and give him 30 touches a game. They brought Perine in. Perine looked good in Cincinnati. I mean, they had Mixon there, but when he had the opportunities, we saw it in the playoffs, goal line, he does it all, man. So, I mean, look, we're in the third round of a rookie draft, Dan. I like the pickup here. Again, we talked about the weakness at our running back, just strengthening depth at a position we're weak at. With a guy who, this guy might be able to give us some RB1 weeks, especially early in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the thing is, this being the straight super flex rather than the Rotoviz triflex, it really puts a little bit more pressure on your running backs, a little bit less pressure on your wide receivers, because that one of those flexes is usually going to be a quarterback. You don't have room. You can't jam in, 4 elite wide receivers or 4 elite running backs. You can only jam in, a max of 3 of each. So you're really only, you just need your 2 running backs, your 2 wide receivers, your 1 tight end, and then you've only got 1 flex left after that super flex. So it basically tries to force you to get better players. Like star power is more important in this kind of league than it is in the standard FFPC or even in the triflex where you're starting a whole lot of wide receivers. So and I know Samaje Perine, you're going, well, that's not star power. But the thing is with running backs, the star power is less important. What you're looking for is running backs that are going to be handling a huge workload on any week. And if you've got a big stable of running backs, the odds are you're going to be able to find one of those guys in whatever week you need to have that big workload.
Dan, I got a little clip just to walk us into the 4th round here.
You want to play rough? Okay. Uno. Say hello to my little friend.
That's how I feel every time we pick up Sean Tucker in the 4th round of one of these rookie drafts. 3rd round. Last night I grabbed him in the 3rd round. I didn't care. I got Rachaad White on that roster. I've got so much Sean Tucker, man, and we've done this before, Dan, and we've hit nicely. Tampa Bay, for some reason, they loved those unrestricted running backs. Talk about that pick. Why do we like him? Why is Sean Tucker superstar on our thumbnail?
Yeah, so Sean Tucker, basically, I think most people expected him to go in the 3rd round, potentially in the 2nd, maybe in the 4th, but, most likely seemed like a 3rd round pick until he got to the combine and he got flagged for medical reasons. And he was not able to participate in the combine. He ended up having his own pro day like a couple days before the draft. Teams were concerned about his medicals, but I mean, as far as what he did up at Syracuse, where he played his college ball, he was a fantastic runner and receiver. He's got the full package, and he's going into a situation where we have Rachaad White, who has proven himself as a receiver, but really hasn't proven himself as a between the tackles runner. So, and then the other 2 running backs of note there are they have Chase Edmonds, who's done nothing but fail since he left, the Arizona. He had a couple good games in Arizona, but every time he's been exposed to the spotlight, he's failed. And then there's also Keyshawn Vaughn, who has never done anything. So Sean Tucker's walking right into the situation with a not established lead back and then very sketchy competition as well. So, this is a guy that we like a lot. He was undrafted though. So, big deal. We're in the 4th round of the draft. This is where you take chances on guys like that.
And especially at this position, we all know it's all about opportunity. We talked about Rachaad White not having much behind him. You're looking at a guy's 5'9", 207, 95th percentile college target share. Comparable to Marlon Mack. We saw Marlon Mack have some, couple good years there in Indy. 4.44, 90th percentile speed. So shifty guy. And got some strength too. If you look at his bench press there. And again, the production over 1,000 yards in 2 seasons. He's showing that he can handle a workload with over 200 touches or 200 rush attempts. And then you've got the receiving. And like I like to say, Dan, the evolution of the receiving game is something I like to see, especially with these running backs. So a lot to offer for a guy at that price. That's why we really like getting him. And we, again, with our, us wanting to strengthen and add depth to that position, Sean Tucker is a really nice piece that you can get in your rookie drafts. If you haven't done him yet, he's falling. Like you can get him most likely in the 4th round, but if you really want him, end of the 3rd round is probably where you're going to, because I think that name, Dan, as we go, more people are going to learn about him and you're going to see him go up a little bit in these drafts.
Yeah, without a doubt. He was pretty consistently in the 4th round over the past couple weeks, but you're right, he definitely may move. Had Chase Brown or Zach Evans fallen, we might have been tempted to go with them. And we were kind of hoping one of them might fall, but didn't happen, which is fine. I mean, when we took P. Ryan, we kind of knew we were taking that chance. But getting that established back who was going to have a workload early in the season, while Kendre Miller, Devon Achane, and Zach Charbonnet, kind of get their feet under them. That's what the P. Ryan pick was for. So we got ourselves set up there. And then after Sean Tucker, our next pick was at the end of the round. Once again, we went back to, an established veteran, Odell Beckham. We decided that Beckham was probably our best pick because, again, this is a league that rewards star power. Or a format that rewards star power over, just collecting bodies or whatever. And, Odell Beckham, is he going to be a star? I don't know. Maybe a 10% chance, but at the 412, he's got a better chance than almost anybody else we could have taken there.
Well, especially with Lamar at quarterback, right? To me, that's the big game changer there. I mean, yes, if I'm in a rookie draft and I see Odell sitting there, he's definitely a nice value. But when you consider the fact that we have Lamar in a super flex, that's a no-brainer. If he pops in, that's wow. You know what I mean? Like I know people are still living, and I think somebody said the other day it was like 2015 or something is his big catch. That or something.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe even a bit further. I don't know, but I just couldn't believe that it had been that long. We still have this image in our head. New spot. They paid him. Paid him more than anyone else wanted to pay him, and Lamar wants weapons. They seem to have some kind of connection. So you hope that blooms. And again, guys, we're talking end of the 4th round. We're looking for value. And like Dan said, at the receiver position, star power, not so much with the depth.
Right, exactly. And that brought us into the 5th round where we had our last 2 picks. We had traded out of the 6th and 7th round completely. So in the 5th round, we took Tyler Conklin at the 506 and then the Patriots defense at the 508. Conklin was just kind of, we have a solid tight end core, but it's not deep. We don't really have the star power that we want, but we also know that Aaron Rodgers can throw to the tight end a lot. And so, Tyler Conklin, if he ends up having, a really good season, Aaron Rodgers, Tyler Conklin, we're kind of playing off of Rodgers there. And then we had a terrible defense. We were playing, kind of the pick a defense every week, switching out our defense. And we had ended up with Arizona as our defense, which we knew we didn't want going into this year. New England was available, so at the 508, we just took them and got ourselves a good defense as well. Because, those defensive points, New England is almost always a top 10 defense, usually a top 5 defense in the scoring format. So, if you can get yourself even a small advantage at defense, it definitely helps out. And those veteran moves say that we're in a position where we're going to try to push for this year, and it gives us a lot of options to sort out. Why don't we move into our, what our lineup looks like and our bench as well. So this is our starting lineup right now. And if the season started today, this might be how we do it. Actually, I think we'd probably put in.
Dan and I are like, we're the guys that as soon as we draft a guy, we go set up our lineup, the starting lineup.
Right. So Lamar Jackson at quarterback is a great way to start. And then putting in P. Ryan, because we think it's very likely that he's going to be the main Denver running back for the first few weeks. And then Pacheco, who we had already on this team. So that gives us at least a couple solid running backs. Then we have our wide receivers. Now we got 2 real stars. We've got Tyree Kill and A.J. Brown. And so that's huge for wide receiver. We have Evan Ingram at tight end, who was big last year. I don't know if he can, it's going to be a little bit tougher for him this year with Calvin Ridley on the squad. But Ingram is probably our best bet to start right now at tight end. Kirk Cousins for a quarterback too. That's rock solid. Treylon Burks, it's definitely a player with star potential. He hasn't quite reached it yet, but he was showing signs last year. He should have a huge workload for sure in Tennessee. So, we like our chances there. Then we have Greg Zuerlein at kicker, who, high-powered offense. So, again, we feel real good about that.
Aaron Rodgers, yep.
Yep. And then the Patriots defense for our defense. And then if you look at our reserves, the one place we are weak at is we don't really have a good third quarterback. So we may end up when our quarterbacks are on bye, we may play a position player in the super flex spot. And it's nice to have the advantage to do that. So we don't really need to worry that much about having a third quarterback. If we get a chance to pick one up along the way, we'll definitely do it. But for now, we're fine. And then our running backs that we've got. So we've got Rashad Penny, who's been super productive anytime he's in the lineup. Cordarrelle Patterson, who's going to be hitting the pavement as soon as we make cut downs. And then we've got A-Chain, Charbonnet, and Miller, all 3 of the guys that we drafted sitting on our bench right now. And the nice thing about drafting all 3 of those guys is if only one of them or 2 of them hit, we made sure that we were going to have that guy on our roster instead of, what we've done before where it's like we have a 50-50 chance and we pick the wrong one. So,
yeah,
having all 3 of those guys feels good.
And the other thing, Dan, we're in middle of May right now, right? So the whole, with the depth that we added and because we added like 3 significant first round rookie running backs, not just like some depth guys later on, we have pieces we can still make moves with. If we want to get that third quarterback or if we want to upgrade, let's say at the running back, because let's face it, FFPC depth on the bench is, like you said, you want star power, you want to be top heavy. So to me, we have nice depth pieces, especially the younger guys. Like this offseason, we're going to hear these guys, pop. There's going to be some guy doing squats with like 5 million pounds or, one of these guys, Sharps or whoever, A-Chain running like beside Flash or something in a clip. And their values will skyrocket and maybe we keep it and enjoy it, or maybe we take advantage and we make a move at another position or we upgrade in what we see as an upgrade. But season's not over. This is where we're at after the draft. I'm pretty happy with it, Dan. I feel like we really put this team in a position to be a contender. And that's a good feeling when when, like we said, this is the only team we had that wasn't competing or didn't finish top 2 or 3 this year that you and I share. So nice to get some muscle behind it. I'm glad we made the moves we did, especially. Love being aggressive in these drafts. Like we said, you kind of have to when you're when you want to turn a team around. And you can't just sit on the sidelines and think, make my picks in the rookie draft and, I'm going to be better next year, off waivers or whatever. You got to be aggressive. That's what we did in this league. Hopefully it works out for us. But it also made the draft fun, right, Dan? Like making those trades, you and I talking, going back and forth with Curtis and Sean and making those moves, that makes the draft fun. So hopefully you guys are out there making moves in your drafts, being aggressive, realizing, looking at your team, analyzing it, seeing where your weaknesses are, and adding the right pieces. And again, add pieces that are liquid. Liquidity is huge in Dynasty. So make sure that, if you're not planning on keeping a guy, he's at least liquid. Right, Dan?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the main thing. Go into your rookie draft with a plan. now that ADP is kind of setting up where it's not going to be exactly the same in every league, but you kind of have an idea of who's likely to go where. So be ready to make the moves you need to make to get yourself in the position to get the players you need or want the most for your team.
Yeah, and if you guys aren't on the FFPC yet playing, you're following our channel, you like the advice we're giving you, maybe we're helping you in your home leagues, and which again, look, it's all relevant, right? You learn about fantasy. We like to bring the big dogs, the 500K winners like we had last night with Austin Martin. But if you want to test out the FFPC, guys, don't be shy. Like, it's myffpc.com. You can start at smaller binds. You can start at a $77 league, or you can start in even a $35 league if you want. Go check it out. You can, as you win your leagues and you move up, you can jump into those 250s, those 500s and higher even, and end up in leagues with Dan and Austin, like we talked about. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully this helped you out. We really enjoyed this draft. We focused on that one. Maybe we'll look at the 500s on another episode, but check us out. Stay tuned for the Owners Lounge. We're going to try to drop these once a week, Dan, so we can, stay active in our leagues and keep you guys informed. All right, guys. Check you all later.
Go district, the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text? That trash offer's the best? You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden, they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice, from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man, y'all know what to do. It's the... And I always be traded. And I always be traded. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them.